The late afternoon sun stretches shadows across our driveway like accusing fingers when I pull into the carport. My ancient Honda clicks and pings as the engine cools. Double shifts at Barney's sandwich shop leave a film of grease on my skin that never quite washes away, no matter how hard I scrub. I gather my portfolio from the passenger seat, cradling the freelance design mock-ups I polished until 2 a.m. 4 months since graduation, and I'm still explaining that graphic design is a real job, just not one that pays real bills yet. The house stands unusually quiet. Thursday afternoons typically buzz with my sister's friends or mom's book club. I push open the front door, the familiar scent of lemon furniture polish mixing with something unfamiliar anticipation maybe. Something feels off. I head down the hallway toward my bedroom at the back of the house. Past the family photos where Brinley's dance recitals and cheerleading trophies get center stage while my college graduation photo sits half hidden behind a potted fern. The door to my room stands slightly ajar. Strange, I always close it to keep Brinley out. I push it open with my portfolio and freeze. My room isn't my room anymore. The walls, once covered with my carefully curated vintage concert posters, now sport Brinley's collection of boy band heartthrobs and influencer quotes in glitter frames. My desk, the solid oak one Grandpa left me, sits wedged awkwardly in the corner, now covered with my sister's makeup collection. My bed sports a pink comforter I've never seen before. And there's Brinley, 15 years old and already certain the world revolves around her axis, dancing in the center of what was my room, phone held high as she records herself for her followers. What's happening? My voice comes out smaller than I intended. Brinley stops mid-twirl, her face lighting up with manufactured surprise. Oh, Mom didn't tell you yet? She continues recording, her phone trained on my face now. Tell me what? The portfolio slides from my grip, hitting the floor with a slap that makes me wince. Delia! Mom appears in the hallway behind me, carrying a laundry basket. Her voice holds that particular brightness she uses when delivering news she knows I won't like. I was going to tell you tonight at dinner. Tell me what? I repeat, blood rushing in my ears. We thought it made more sense for Brinley to have this room. She needs the space for her things now that she's starting high school. Mom sets down the basket, smoothing her cardigan. Your father and I discussed it, and we think it's time for some changes around here. Changes. The word tastes bitter. Where's my stuff? We moved your desk into the laundry room. It's cozy. And we put your other things in boxes in the garage. She waves her hand vaguely. You'll sleep in the laundry room until you figure your life out. From the living room, the rustling of Dad's newspaper is the only sign he's home. Not a word, not a sound, just the paper shield he always hides behind when difficult conversations happen. This space suits me better anyway, Brinley says, spinning again. The light is perfect for my videos. I walk woodenly to the garage, where stacks of boxes hold the fragments of my life. My books, my records, my art supplies all packed away like I'm already gone. In their minds, maybe I am. 4 months ago, they welcomed their college graduate home with open arms. Stay as long as you need, they said. Save money while you job hunt, they promised. I gave them grocery money from my Barney's paychecks. I cleaned the house every Thursday. I lived on ramen and peanut butter to stretch my savings. Last week, I overheard Mom on the phone with Aunt Susan. Our temporary roommate, she called me. Not my daughter, roommate. That night, I lay on the thin foam pad Mom pulled from the camping supplies. The laundry room floor is hard beneath me, the dryer clicking and humming against the wall. Tears slid silently into my hair. The house settles around me with unfamiliar creaks and groans. Maybe those sounds were always there, and this is the first time I've been close enough to the bones of the house to hear them. At 2 a.m. I sit up, back aching, eyes swollen. The blue glow of my laptop illuminates the cramped space as I open a spreadsheet. At the top, I type, exit plan. I won't just leave, I whisper to the humming dryer. I'll rise, quietly. And for the first time since coming home, I feel something like peace. A white rectangular sign appears in Mrs. Godfrey's front yard one Wednesday morning, glowing like a beacon in the early light. For sale. A simple statement that stops me mid-step as I trudge to my car for another Barney's shift. 6 weeks since they found her. 6 weeks since the ambulance lights painted the neighborhood red and blue. Mrs. Godfrey Eleanor to the adults, Mrs. G to me since I was 14 had died quietly in her sleep at 87. The house has stood empty since, a hollow reminder of weekend afternoons helping her sort coupons or carrying groceries up her porch steps. I walk closer, the dewy grass soaking through my worn sneakers. A plastic box hangs from the sign filled with glossy flyers. I take one, hands suddenly unsteady. 2BR, 1BA, charming starter home needing TLC, $117,500. The amount hits me like a physical blow. So little for an entire house. So much for someone sleeping on a laundry room floor. I look up at the small ranch house with its peeling yellow paint and overgrown rose bushes. The concrete birdbath Mrs. Godfrey kept filled even when her arthritis made it difficult to carry the water jug. The oak tree where she hung a simple swing the neighborhood children still used until a few months ago. From this spot I can see both Mrs. Godfrey's front porch and my parents' kitchen window. 50 feet, maybe less. Just 50 feet away, I whisper, something electric running through me. Close enough to remember but far enough to breathe. That night I spread financial documents across the dryer top, the machine providing both light and warmth in the cramped laundry room. My laptop screen glows with mortgage calculators and first-time homebuyer programs. I've been careful with money since my first job at 16. College savings that became emergency funds. Summer internship money tucked away. Freelance payments that never quite covered student loan payments but still left something to save. $6,800 from college jobs. I murmur, tapping figures into a spreadsheet. $2,400 emergency funds, $3,100 from freelance projects. The numbers blur together as exhaustion sets in. $12,300 total. Not enough for a traditional down payment, but possibly enough for an FHA loan with just 3.5% down. But closing costs, inspections, immediate repairs. The washing machine kicks into its spin cycle, vibrating the floor beneath my thin mattress pad. It's midnight and I need to be up at 5 for my opening shift. 6 more months, I calculate, rubbing gritty eyes. 6 months of double shifts and ramen dinners. I fall asleep with the loan application website still open on my screen. For 3 weeks, I became a ghost in my parents' house. I leave before dawn for opening shifts at Barney's, use my lunch breaks to meet with Martha Wilson at Sunrise Valley Credit Union, and return after dark to work on freelance projects until my eyes burn. The sacrifice shows in my dwindling social life and growing savings account. Brown bag lunches instead of staff meal purchases. No new clothes. Streaming services canceled. Each dollar is a brick in the foundation I'm building. You're pre-approved, Martha says one Tuesday afternoon, sliding a folder across her desk with a smile that suggests she knows exactly what this means. Your credit history is excellent for someone your age. I sit in my car afterward, hands trembling on the steering wheel. From the Barney's drive-thru, I purchased a single celebration cupcake, only luxury I'll allow. The sweet frosting tastes like possibility. What time will you be home tonight? Mom asks at dinner the following Sunday. She's speaking in my general direction but looking at Dad. The Petersons' daughter just got promoted at that accounting firm downtown. Full benefits, company car. Delia's still figuring things out. Dad says, cutting his roast beef into precisely equal pieces. Maybe it's time to think about your own place though. Independence builds character. I nearly choke on my water. 6 months of independence would have been nice before they gave my room away. Brinley breezes into the dining room, late as usual. Did you move my makeup brushes? She demands, addressing me directly for the first time in days. They were on your desk. You mean my desk that's in your room now? I keep my voice neutral despite the flash of heat behind my eyes. Whatever. Can you not leave your laptop charging in the laundry room? The cord's a tripping hazard when I need towels. Mom sighs. Girls, please. Your Aunt Susan was asking about your situation, Delia. I didn't know what to tell her. My situation. Like unemployment is contagious. The realtor meets me at Mrs. Godfrey's house the following morning. Tammy Sherwood wears a blazer too heavy for the Arizona heat and heels that sink into the neglected lawn. It's a definite fixer-upper, she warns, unlocking the front door. The family just wants a quick sale. They cleared out her personal belongings but not much else. Musty air greets us, heavy with decades of lived history. Wallpaper curls at the seams. The carpet, once beige, has worn to threadbare paths between rooms. The kitchen sports avocado green appliances that were outdated when I was born. Most young single women want something move-in ready, Tammy says, watching me test a squeaky cabinet hinge. This place needs a lot of work. I run my hand along the solid wood door frame, feeling the quality beneath the chipped paint. I'm not most women. Later, I stand alone in the small backyard. Desert sunlight illuminates patches of dormant flower beds and the skeleton of a garden trellis. From here, I can see directly into my parents' kitchen window. Mom stands at the sink, phone cradled between shoulder and ear, probably discussing me. This is where I reclaim my life, I whisper to Mrs. Godfrey's sleeping roses. The words hang in the air, both promise and prayer. 3 months later, the sandwich shop's grease trap clogs for the third time this week. I volunteer to stay after my shift to help clean it, which earns me a grateful nod from my manager and an extra $20 tucked into my apron pocket. Every dollar counts now. The clock reads 11:43 p.m. when I finally trudge to my car, hands still smelling of bleach despite 3 scrubbings. My hidden notebook waits beneath the Honda's passenger seat. I slip it out and record the $20 under unexpected income. The total edges upward, still painfully distant from my goal, but closer than yesterday. Spreadsheets don't lie. Numbers tell the truth when families don't. A text buzzes my phone. Brinley, can you keep it down when you come in? I have a cheer competition tomorrow. I don't respond. She sleeps 3 rooms away from the laundry room but complains about my typing. Meanwhile, her TikTok dance music reverberates through the house until 11 p.m. without comment from our parents. The library computer waits for me every Tuesday and Thursday morning before my shift. Librarian Marcia saves the corner station for me from 8 to 9:30 a.m., pretending not to notice as I research load-bearing walls, electrical codes, and plumbing repairs. Today, I printed articles on drywall patching and proper painting techniques, now folded neatly beside my notebook. Thinking of buying a house? Marcia asked once, her silver-framed glasses catching the fluorescent light. Just planning ahead, I answered, which wasn't a lie. My phone holds 87 YouTube tutorials on home renovation, each one carefully labeled and organized into playlists. Basic plumbing, drywall work, flooring options, electrical safety. I watch them during lunch breaks at Barney's, earning curious glances from coworkers who wonder why I'm studying toilet installations instead of scrolling social media. The house key hangs heavy in my pocket as I pull into our driveway at midnight. Mom left the porch light off again, forgetfulness or message, I'm never sure anymore. I navigate the dark hallway toward the laundry room, my new normal for the past 4 months. There you are, Mom says, startling me as she appears in the kitchen doorway. Karen Hart, still fully dressed at midnight, arms crossed over her cardigan. You look exhausted. I smell like bleach and onions and disappointment. Long shift. Maybe this is teaching you why college graduates shouldn't work at sandwich shops, she says, her voice sweet with poisoned concern. The Peterson girl found a position at that marketing firm downtown. Starting salary is $50,000. The Peterson girl also had parents who paid her rent during 3 unpaid internships. I swallow the words burning my throat. Night, Mom. Your father thinks you should start looking at apartments, she continued as if I hadn't spoken. It might be time to think about your own place. 4 months ago. Stay as long as you need. 3 months ago. Our temporary roommate. Now. Your own place. The timeline of diminishing welcome. I'm saving, I say, which is also not a lie. The laundry room door closes behind me with a soft click. My sanctuary of white noise and chemical smells. The dryer ticks as it cools, my unintentional roommate. I tuck my notebook between the rarely used fancy tablecloths on the top shelf, then unfold my sleeping pad beside the rumbling washing machine. The loan approval email arrived during my lunch break 3 days ago. I read it 17 times, each viewing more surreal than the last. Martha Wilson, the loan officer who didn't laugh when I first walked into her office in my sandwich shop uniform, wrote, "Congratulations, Delia. Your determination impressed us all." My offer on Mrs. Godfrey's house sits in an envelope in my glove compartment, waiting for tomorrow's meeting with the real estate agent. $11,750 every penny I've saved since sophomore year of college about to transform from numbers in an account to a down payment on my future. Sunday dinner stretches interminably, with Aunt Susan and Uncle Tom joining us. Brinley dominates the conversation with cheer squad politics while Dad and Uncle Tom discuss property taxes. Mom serves pot roast with good china. Delia, you're quiet tonight, Aunt Susan notes, fork paused midair. Mom answers before I can. She's tired from that sandwich shop. We keep telling her to find something that uses her degree. What was your degree again? Uncle Tom asks, squinting. Graphic design, I reminded him. The same answer as the last 4 family gatherings. Speaking of your situation, Aunt Susan leans forward, pearls swinging. Are you still in the laundry room? The table erupts in laughter. Even Brinley giggles behind her napkin. I stare at my plate, fork clenched tight enough to bend. It's temporary, Mom says, patting my hand with performative affection, until she figures things out. I've figured plenty out, they just don't know it yet. Tuesday afternoon, I sign the closing documents in my car during my lunch break. The realtor looks puzzled as I hunker over the steering wheel, signing page after page but doesn't comment. The final signature, my name in black ink claiming ownership, feels monumental and terrifyingly small at once. 2 days later, the key feels impossibly heavy in my palm as I walk through Mrs. Godfrey's my front door that evening. The house smells of dust and forgotten afternoons. Water stains mark the ceiling. Wallpaper peels in the corners. The carpet, worn to threads and high traffic paths, tells stories of years of footsteps. I bring in 3 things from my car. A second-hand toolbox purchased from the hardware store clearance section last month. A bucket of sage green paint chosen specifically because Mom once called the color depressing. My phone, loaded with renovation tutorials and connected to the Wi-Fi I had installed yesterday. The leaky bathroom faucet became my first conquest. I spread tools across the peeling linoleum, phone propped against the mirror playing a step-by-step guide. 2 skin knuckles and 1 trip to the hardware store later, the persistent drip silences. Victory feels like copper pipes and tightened washers. The borrowed air mattress from coworker Janie hisses softly as I inflate it in what will become my bedroom. The empty room amplifies the sound. No posters, no desk, no little sister filming dance videos, just space. My space. I lay awake for hours that first night, listening to the house settle around me. The unfamiliar creaks and sighs of old wood. The distant hum of the refrigerator. The absence of a dryer's mechanical breathing. When sleep finally comes, it arrives deep and dreamless. Morning breaks through dusty blinds, birdsong filtering through windows that need recalking. I stretch across the air, mattress, arms and legs extending fully without hitting walls or appliances. The simple pleasure of space after months of compression brings unexpected tears. Good morning, I whisper to the empty house. My voice echoes slightly, bouncing off bare walls and hardwood floors waiting to be refinished. The house answers with a soft settling sound, like a sigh of recognition. Today I'll call the electrician about the outdated wiring. Tomorrow the plumber checks the water heater. My savings account looks alarmingly thin, but the spreadsheet on my phone shows a careful allocation of resources. From my bedroom window I can see the corner of my parents' house just 50 feet away, close enough to remember, far enough to breathe. I whisper a promise to the empty room. I'll build something worthy of us both. 3 weeks later, I am all into work and remodeling. The sage green paint transforms the kitchen walls stroke by stroke. I step back, brush dripping slightly over the drop cloth, and study the difference between the finished section and the faded yellow still waiting its turn. 3 weeks of evening work, and the house begins to mirror the change happening inside me. My phone buzzes on the counter. Another freelance request, this one for a complete brand package for a local coffee shop. I text back immediately. Yes, available to start Monday. We'll send quote tonight. The jobs stack up now, one after another. My updated portfolio featuring photographs of my renovation progress has caught attention online. Turns out people appreciate watching transformation happen in real time. I dip the brush again, the familiar scent of paint mingling with the coffee cooling beside me. The laundry room at my parents' house grows more foreign with each night I spend here. Strange how quickly the definition of home can shift. "This color suits you," says a voice behind me. I turn to find Mrs. Kaplan, the retired art teacher from 3 doors down, standing in the doorway I've propped open to catch the evening breeze. "The realtor mentioned someone bought this place, but I had no idea it was you." Her eyes travel from the green walls to the refinished hardwood floors to the vintage lamp I restored from a thrift store find. "You've been busy." "Every night and weekend." I set the brush down. "Would you like some coffee?" "I'd love some." She settles into one of the 2 chairs at my small kitchen table, another restoration project, sanded and stained to warm honey tones. "Your parents must be so proud." I pour coffee into my second mug. "I only own 2. They don't know yet." Her eyebrows lift, disappearing beneath her silver bangs. "You're right next door." 50 feet away. I smile. Close enough to remember, far enough to breathe. Mrs. Kaplan sips her coffee, watching me over the rim. Bold move. Necessary one. We sit in comfortable silence. Through the kitchen window, I can see my parents' house, the light from their living room spilling across their lawn. Dad watches his Thursday night football. Mom folds laundry. Brinley talks on her phone, pacing the room that used to be mine. "I got a job," I say, breaking the quiet. "Remote position with Westridge Design in Denver. Full benefits, creative control over client projects." "Congratulations. When did you start?" 2 weeks ago." I can't help the smile that spreads across my face. "I've already finished 3 projects from this table. Gave notice at Barney's yesterday." She nods, understanding the magnitude without my having to explain. "Freedom looks good on you." After she leaves, I work until midnight, finishing the kitchen walls. In the morning, I pull on work jeans and steel-toed boots, weekend warrior uniform, and head to the backyard. The space behind the house has transformed from tangled weeds to something with intention. Mrs. Godfrey's rose bushes, rescued from years of neglect, now frame a rectangular concrete pad. 3 weekends of backbreaking labor and most of my first professional paycheck have culminated in this moment. The delivery truck backs carefully into the driveway. 2 men unload sections of a small plunge pool, nothing fancy, but positioned perfectly within sight of my parents' kitchen window. By sundown, the installation is complete. Water sparkles in the afternoon light as it fills the modest basin. From my parents' kitchen, the view will be unmistakable, a statement without words. Sunday morning, I carry my coffee outside and settle into an Adirondack chair beside the water. The sun warms my face as I open my book, deliberately angling my body toward their house. 10 minutes pass before I sense movement at their window. Mom stands at the sink, coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips as she stares across the yard. I turn a page, feeling her gaze but not acknowledging it. That evening, my phone buzzes with a text from Mom. "You seem different lately. Everything okay?" I type back, "Never better." The following week brings more changes. My design work fills mornings and afternoons. Evenings transform the house room by room. The small home office takes shape with a refurbished desk and ergonomic chair. The bathroom gleams with new fixtures. The living room welcomes a comfortable sofa, my first new furniture purchase. Dad stops me in the driveway as I unload groceries. He shifts from foot to foot, hands deep in his pockets. "Your car wasn't here last night," he says, not quite meeting my eyes. "I was home," I answered simply. His forehead creases. "But your car?" "Was in my garage. I close my trunk. My home, Dad. Next door." Understanding dawns slowly across his weathered face. He glances toward Mrs. Godfrey's house, my house, now taking in the fresh paint, the tidy yard, the plunge pool visible from where we stand. "How long?" he asks, voice roughened by surprise. I balance grocery bags in both arms, my shoulders stronger than they've ever been. "Since the day after you gave my room away." He opens his mouth, closes it again. For once, there's no newspaper to hide behind. I walk away before he can find his voice, my feet carrying me the 50 feet to freedom. A month later, the Arizona sun blazes through my kitchen window at 6:45 Saturday morning, painting golden rectangles across the terracotta floor tiles I laid with my own hands. I carry my coffee mug white ceramic with a hairline crack running from rim to handle through the French doors and onto the back patio. The concrete of my small plunge pool gleams in the morning light, water still and perfect as glass. I sink into the wrought iron chair I rescued from a yard sale 3 streets over. Across the fence, Mom always cleans the kitchen at 7 sharp on weekends. Her silhouette will appear behind those buttercream curtains any minute. The coffee tastes better here, though the beans are the same Folgers I drank in their laundry room for months. I take another sip and wait, pulse quickening despite my outward calm. 7:01. The kitchen light flickers next door. Mom's outline materializes behind the curtain, then freezes. Even from 50 feet away, I feel her sudden stillness. I turn my face to the morning sun and cross my ankles, stretching them toward the pool's edge. The pages of my magazine rustle in the gentle breeze. I don't look toward the window again, but I know she's still watching. With steady hands that betray nothing of my racing heart, I pour a second cup from the carafe. The coffee streams dark and fragrant, steam curling upward in the morning light. By 9, the sun climbs higher and beats against my shoulders. I've moved to the pool's edge, legs dangling in the cool water when Dad's shadow falls across the fence. "Morning," he calls, voice artificially casual as he fiddles with the sprinkler head near the property line. His plaid shirt hangs untucked over faded Jeanchi's weekend uniform since I was a child. "Morning." I don't rise from my spot. He tests the sprinkler, then shuts it off. Dirt smudges his knuckles as he grips the top of the fence. "You did all this?" I nod once. "Looks really good." His eyes travel over the garden, the pool, the freshly painted house. "You always had an eye for details." "Thanks." Mom was. He stops, clears his throat, surprised. The word hangs between us. Not angry, not upset, surprised as if my competence itself was unexpected. His weight shifts from foot to foot as the silence stretches. A mourning dove calls from somewhere in Mrs. Godfrey's revived rose bushes. "The electrical must have been tricky," he finally offers, glancing toward the outdoor lighting I installed. "Had a licensed professional handle that part." Smart. Always good to know when to call in help. The irony of his statement sits between us, unacknowledged. He shuffles again, thumbs hooking into his belt loops. "Listen, you should come by for dinner sometime." The invitation lands awkwardly, his voice pitched slightly higher than normal. "Maybe." I let the word float between us, neither rejection nor acceptance. Dad looks at me differently now, confusion mixed with something else, something that might be respect. The dynamic has shifted, tectonic plates rearranging 50 feet from where they stood for 26 years. "Well," he glances back at his house, then at mine again. "Door's open if you want to stop by." I nod, saying nothing more as he turns and walks back across his lawn. The doorbell rings at 10:15 the next morning. Mom stands on my porch, hair freshly styled, wearing the coral blouse she saves for lunches with her church friends. "Good morning." Her voice carries that brightness it always does when she's uncomfortable. "Morning." I don't step back to invite her in. "I thought we should talk." She gestures vaguely toward the interior of my house. "You could have told us you were moving out." "Like you told me before taking my room?" The words come quietly, without the heat that once would have accompanied them. Her lips press together, color rising in her cheeks. The silence stretches between us like a measuring tape. "May I see what you've done with the place?" she finally asks. "Not today." I rest my hand on the doorframe. "Maybe next week when I'm settled." She blinks rapidly. This isn't how our conversations usually end, with me setting the terms. "Brinley has been texting you." I saw. She's confused. I imagine so. Mom shifts her purse from one arm to the other. "The neighborhood association meets Thursday. Mrs. Abernathy mentioned the exterior color. They normally prefer more traditional tones." "The bylaws allow for sage green." I checked. Something in her expression falters the realization that I've considered angles she assumed I'd miss. As she leaves, I notice Dad in their driveway, pretending to check the mail. Their kitchen window remains vacant now, though I feel eyes watching from somewhere inside. My phone buzzes with another text from Brinley. 3 more from Mom about neighborhood gossip. Dad offers to loan me his hedge trimmer when we pass by the mailbox. 2 weeks later, they extended another dinner invitation. I decline with a simple, "I have plans. Though my only plan is sitting by my pool with a book, no one will interrupt me from reading." The boundary I've built isn't just concrete and drywall, it's the 50 feet between doorsteps, the quiet confidence in my voice, the space I've claimed as mine alone. Not an angry statement, not a dramatic exit. Just a quiet revelation that some distances, once created, can never fully close and perhaps were never meant to. A year later, Jasmine climbs the trellis I installed last spring, reaching toward my bedroom window with delicate white blooms. 1 year in this house, and the garden has transformed from Mrs. Godfrey's forgotten skeleton to something with lungs and a heartbeat. I step onto my back porch, coffee warming my palms through ceramic, and breathe in the morning air, my space, my victory. Inside, the kitchen gleams with early light catching the subway tile backsplash I installed myself over 3 grueling weekends. My laptop sits open on the refinished oak desk, the one Grandpa left me now positioned beneath the bay window where I take client calls. The Westridge Design logo pulses on my screen, awaiting the day's projects. My phone buzzes. Another text from Mom. "Happy Tuesday. Church potluck Sunday. Bringing anything?" Casual, as though the past never happened, as though I hadn't slept on a laundry room floor while plotting my escape. These days, Mom texts about weather and neighborhood gossip. Dad talks about lawn care over the fence. Brinley watches from her old window when I entertain friends by the pool. I tap back. Maybe deviled eggs. Will let you know. Non-committal. The power of maybe. The landscaper I hired for my latest client calls, and I step into my home office, the room where Mrs. Godfrey once kept her sewing machine. The succulents should anchor the corners, I tell him, but leave breathing space between plantings. We want desert minimalism, not crowding. After the call, I pull back my curtains to check the weather. Mom stands at her kitchen sink, hands submerged in soapy water, staring directly at my house. Our eyes meet through 2 panes of glass and 50 feet of carefully tended yard. She lifts a sudsy hand in greeting. I nod once, permission to wave, not invitation to visit. Last week, she called about a quick design question for Brinley's graduation party. Nothing fancy, she insisted. Just some advice on invitation fonts. I provided 3 options with color schemes, professional and generous. The boundaries between us now stand clear as the property line. I offer expertise, not emotional labor. The neighborhood Christmas lights competition last December marked a turning point. For 20 years, Dad claimed the unofficial title with his methodical display. My house glowed with simple white lights outlining every architectural feature, bathing the desert garden in silver. 3 neighbors stopped to take photos. Dad's polychromatic Santa scene suddenly looked cluttered, frantic. The local paper featured my home on their holiday tour map. Mom's face in their kitchen window that night told me everything. My contractor calls about the Wilson project later, that Dia backyard renovation for a retired couple 3 streets over. Your vision for their space is exactly what they wanted, he says. Mrs. Wilson mentioned your parents seemed surprised you'd accomplished so much. Of course they were. Surprise has become their permanent condition. Tonight, I'm hosting a housewarming 1 year delayed but perfectly timed. My colleagues from Westridge will fly in from Denver. Local clients will mingle with new friends, standing on the patio I designed, admiring the pool that gleams turquoise against the desert palette. From the kitchen window, I watch the caterers arrange tables beneath market lights strung across the yard. The evening breeze carries the scent of bougainvillea and possibility. Mom appears in her garden, ostensibly checking her tomato plants, eyes drifting toward the preparations. I don't wave this time. Some acknowledgments must be earned. When darkness falls, laughter fills my yard. Crystal catches light. Music plays from speakers hidden among potted palms. Through strategically placed landscape lighting, both houses stand visible bookends to my journey. I raise my glass toward my mother's silhouette at her window, not in forgiveness, but in completion. This house isn't just shelter, it's structure, freedom, and proof.